Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. Are we getting ready for the onslaught of Harry's media blitz coming up this week? I hope that the worst is over, but something tells me that it's not. And some sort of new bombshell or revelation is going to come out in one of the 50 interviews that Harry has lined up this week. I think the big question on everybody's mind is how far is he going to go to push his family to give a response and react? Is dignified silence going to be enough of a response?
So what do? Do they never complain, never explain, or will they have to say recollections may vary?
This was the debate that they had last night on Talk TV. Paula Roan Adrian, who's a Talk TV contributor, and I believe she's also a lawyer, a fierce defender of Harry and Meghan, begins to say a couple things that had me scratch my head. She proceeds to respond on what the royal family should do.
They do say, they definitely do explain, and they definitely do complain. What they don't do is attribute it specifically to them.
Now, she is making a pretty bold claim. Now, remember, she's a lawyer.
It will be a royal source, or a source close to the family, or a source close to X, Y, or Z.
Now, pay attention to Katie Nicholl. She's wearing red, sitting on the end.
Yes. And we know that that happens. And
you notice Katie looks down, and there's almost like she wants to avoid this particular topic. I'm going to put this out there, but I don't trust this woman. Let me tell you why. Katie Nicholl has been a writer / reporter / correspondent for the last 2 years for the royals. Up until when Meghan came along, she seemed fairly knowledgeable about the royals and always had written about them in a very positive light. I'll be honest, before Meghan, I knew nothing about how the UK media worked, nor did I know anything about how the US media worked, especially when it came down to working with US PR management firms. What I've started to notice is that Katie Nicholl is a contributor for all the news outlets that Meghan and Harry use to push their propaganda. One magazine definitely raises my suspicion. She's a contributing major editor for Vanity Fair. If you go to her website, she's been writing articles about the royals since 2010. My question is, why didn't she write the Wild About Harry article for Meghan? As you can see, she has covered every milestone for William and Catherine every single year, as well as covered milestones for Prince Harry. But when it came to the year 2017, when Meghan did the Wild About Harry Vanity Fair cover, it would have made a lot of sense that she wrote the story, but she didn't. And that is 1 year that she didn't write anything about the royals for Vanity Fair, but then afterwards proceeded to publish a book about Meghan and Harry. And then since then, she has written articles and she has contributed to People magazine, Us Weekly. She then has gone on TV here in the United States for E! Online, Entertainment Tonight, all of the media companies that Meghan and Harry are tightly aligned with. And where I have turned off from her is right after the Oprah interview, after all those lies were exposed, she still kept a very neutral and in some degree defended Harry and Meghan. She is the go-to person to talk about Harry and Meghan whenever any of these controversies come up because she is quite neutral and also to a certain extent defends them. And that's when she talks to the media outlets that Meghan and Harry support. So is she getting paid? I don't know. But when it comes down to talking to the more, I want to say, conservative side, like GB News, she plays the other fence. And this is why I feel like I don't trust her. It does appear that she talks to a lot of inside sources. She's the only one that really speaks to these Hollywood media outlets. Camilla Tominey doesn't, Dan Wooten doesn't, Dickie Arbiter doesn't. She's the only one aligned with the Harkles or the Sussex Rhoda. We've seen her before in photos with this man, who was actually the one who hosted and threw Katie Nicholl's book launching party. So that's what we're watching here. But even more intriguing is a person that was invited to this party in New York City. nope, that's not your eyes deceiving you, and yep, she is currently in jail. And being that this was in New York City at a really swanky hotspot, there's a good possibility that the deceased financier was also at that party. Which brings us back to this.
And we know that that happens.
So remember, Paula makes this firm claim the explaining and complaining does go through these sources, whether it be a royal source or a source close to so-and-so. And if you notice why I'm bringing this up again is that Katie says nothing. Now, if that was false, she would have spoken up and said that is not true, which I've seen her do before. So something tells me that there is truth to this. I mean, it does say in the description of this video, Vanity Fair royal editor Katie Nicholl says she spoke to a source close to King Charles III who says he wants to extend an olive branch to Prince Harry and wants a relationship with his sons. So I'm going to say that there is a certain amount of truth to this. Whether it be for PR purposes, it's definitely coming from the royal family camp.
It will be a royal source or a source close to the family or a source close to X, Y, or Z.
Which now brings me to what I really want to talk about. And it's this article that I saw in the Globe. Now, I'm not very familiar with the magazine, The Globe, but it does look like to me something similar to what we have here in the United States, such as the National Enquirer, Star Magazine, Us Weekly, pretty much gossip rag. But knowing now that Meghan and Harry leak stories to these kinds of magazines, I'm almost wondering if the royal household leaks stories, but not necessarily sure they understand where these stories are going, and somehow they find their way to magazines like this. There are a lot of articles out there that are talking about Harry and Meghan, all different kinds of stories, but this one piqued my interest because of what Lady C has been talking about over the last few weeks. Let's take a look at this article and dissect it. So the title of this article says, Charles' $50 million plot to buy back Harry. And it begins, fed up King Charles is so desperate to be rid of royal bashing daughter-in-law Meghan, he's preparing a $50 million divorce deal to free his henpecked son Harry and shut the American harpies yap, stunned palace sources tell the Globe. So now we've got palace sources. According to a high-level courtier, the 74-year-old monarch is even willing to let Meghan have custody of his grandchildren, Archie 3 and Lilibet 1, who are in the royal line of succession, as long as Harry, 38, returns to his family and she ends her public war. So I'm on the fence about this. Part of me thinks that, like, how would a courtier know the amount of money if, let's say, there was a deal in process to be made to leak that information? I would think that that information would be confidential. But then on the other hand, since the two of them are not speaking to the family, maybe this is the way for them to actually see what it is that they're trying to do and putting this number out there to see if that is something, or maybe sending a message saying that this is what we're willing to give you. Just a thought. The article continues, and this is in quotes. Charles believes a $50 million buyout will appeal to Meghan because she's greedy and it will set her up for life, end quote, says the courtier. His Majesty is willing to forgive Harry for the horrifying damage he's inflicted on the royal family in the last 3 years and is determined to stop his son from throwing his life away. I'm told the monarch believes Harry is so besotted by Meghan, the prince can't see he's headed for disaster and must get out now. Charles is just trying to save Harry from himself. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't think $50 million is gonna do it for Meghan. You gotta figure in taxes, and assuming that she does pay her US taxes, and also her jealousy of Catherine and William is so intense that she's gonna say, well, Catherine and William are almost, or if not, they are billionaires. Why should I get just a measly $50 million? I should at least get 100 or 200 million. The king's plan is being drafted as the royal family braces for more devastating attacks in Harry's tell-all memoir, Spare, which hits bookstores this month. Charles knows more so-called truth bombs are sure to come, notes the palace source. We expect Harry to take no prisoners, and Charles and Queen Consort Camilla will top the hit list. So the $1 million question is, what do we not know yet? Considering the book has been leaked and a lot of information has been released by various newspapers, it does not seem like he was so tough on Camilla. I think the heavy hitters here was the attacks against William. I think the real zingers yet to come are going to be in those interviews. This continues on to say, sources in the royal inner circle tell Globe Charles blames B-list actress Meghan for the family drama. Well, maybe Charles should have listened to Samantha Markle and Thomas Markle Jr. because they were fairly warned. But can't cry over spilled milk. We are where we are now. It is what it is. So the king insists Meghan played his love-struck youngest son like a fiddle by faking a series of emotional crises that began before their 2018 wedding, according to the source. I think that was well said. It summarizes this up fairly accurately. Then they continue to lay it out. Former Suits actress Meghan stands accused of bullying palace staffers, making outrageous diva demands, and reducing future King William's wife Kate to tears. The Duchess of Sussex denies all the allegations, and her protective hubby has declared what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. That apparently included moving their family to America and abandoning all duties as working royals. Once settled in California, Harry and his biracial wife launched a series of blistering TV attacks on the royal family, branding them cruel, uncaring racists. But really, how is that working out for them? She's really not getting what she wants, is she? So if she can't be happy and have what she wants, then nobody else can. And that's exactly what she's doing here with this family. Now, I hope this next paragraph is true. It says, despite the Sussexes' vicious assaults and demands for a humiliating royal apology, the king doesn't want to give up on his younger son, reveals an insider. He seems desperate to get his son out of a toxic relationship and is apparently willing to do anything to save Harry and the monarchy. You know, I have to believe that. It's really sad that we're seeing this, but unfortunately, Harry is unable to see it. Now, I'm not excusing his behavior for 1 second. The problem we have here is that he's surrounded by people who do not have his best interests at heart. And clearly, what we're witnessing with this book Spare pretty much hung him out to dry, whether it be Meghan saying, oh, this is brilliant, they're going to love it, I can't wait to see your family react, or the people around him saying, yeah, this is good stuff, it's going to sell. Nothing but a bunch of yes men. And this is what makes me believe what Lady C is saying. Charles has retained top flight divorce lawyers in both America and Britain to craft an ironclad settlement agreement, the insider says. Under the deal, Meghan would get a lump sum $50 million payout, generous child support, a magnificent U.S. mansion, and sole ownership of Harry's British home, Frogmore Cottage, according to the insider. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know about Frogmore Cottage. I don't think that Frogmore Cottage can be given to her because isn't that property of the UK? Drop a note below because I'm not sure on this one. I would hate to see that. Then again, she would then inherit Wallace Simpson's, I think, grave. I think her grave's there, so she will be haunted forever. Then goes on to say she'd also be able to keep her coveted royal title while living in America with the children, the insider says. Is that even possible? Wouldn't they have to return that back because that's actually representing the people of Sussex? If that's the case, man, I feel sorry. Sorry for the people who live in Sussex if she keeps this title. But then again, if they were to take it back, who else would want it after this? So what does Meghan have to do for this generous offer? All Meghan would have to do in return is cease her attacks on the monarchy and agree to never say another word about what goes on inside the royal family, the mold dishes. Yeah, somehow I don't think she'd be able to keep her mouth shut. Also, I think there should be a provision in there that she can't run for office if she's holding this title. She would have to give it up. And that provision should also extend to the children and not being allowed to talk about the monarchy because We know that Meghan is a leaker, and if she can't speak, she will have other people speak for her. And who next would she probably manipulate to blab their mouth about the monarchy? And that's those children. Anyhow, to finish up, this is an incredibly generous proposal and a unique solution to the current royal crisis, says the insider. But there is one fly in the ointment. Harry is absolutely bedazzled by his wife. While he may want to mend fences with his father and the rest of the royals, most people in the firm don't think Harry will ever abandon Meghan. He's too in love. Charles's daring plan seems doomed to end in failure. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'm not too familiar with the reputation of the Globe or how accurate they have been in the past, but what I can say is that a lot of this stuff seems possible. One thing that wasn't addressed, the kids' place in the line of succession. So if this divorce does, let's say, happen eventually down the road, what does that mean for the kids, especially if she gets custody or full custody of them and they're not being raised in the UK? This is so messy. Lilibet shouldn't even be in there because there's no record of her on file. So how is that even valid? I agree. I don't think if, let's say, hypothetically, this is what is going on in the background and what Lady C has been alluding to, I don't think Harry will go for it because he does not want to walk away. Because essentially, if this ends up in divorce, that could be seen as a failure. His ego will hold him back. Do I think Meghan would be the one to say, yeah, give me those papers, I want out? Yeah, I think she would if the price was right. Now, do I think that she really wants to keep the kids if she divorces? No, but she will want full custody because she will want that alimony. And she will also want to keep them for some other purpose down the road if she needs them as pawns, whether it be to gaslight Harry or to use them for their royal connection. She won't let go of those kids. It's a sad situation if those children truly do exist. Neither of those two are fit to be parents. I would love if King Charles took ownership of those kids. I do believe Archie could be his if he wanted, because he was born in the UK. And technically, from what I understand, the offspring belong to the monarch. Correct me if I'm wrong. How satisfying would it be if, like, Sophie or Catherine took Archie and became their guardians, essentially? We can almost predict that Harry might need some form of treatment and therapy once he gets removed from that toxic situation. So, in the interim, let those two wonderful ladies give the nurturing that Archie does not appear to be getting at this moment. As far as the girl's concerned, Meghan can keep her because whoever gave birth to this alleged child was done in the United States. And quite frankly, doesn't belong in the line of succession because there's no evidence of her record that she came out of Meghan's vajayjay. So can't really say that the child is royal. But how awesome would it be if Catherine or Sophie took Archie and Meghan had to watch those two, or Catherine raise her own child? That would be like the biggest FU to this grifter. I think it would make her go crazy. I'm just putting it out there in the universe. Who knows who's listening to this channel? We can only dream and believe that good will prevail. What do you guys think is going on right now? If there were a package to give to Meghan to just walk away, what do you think it would look like? Let me know your comments below. Anyhow, I will be back soon with more content, but until then, be safe and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
I was such a fraud.